One world, your station.
Hello, shiny happy people. Hi, Anna. I see these wonderful pictures of wonderful pictures of London town, and I feel extremely envious. It looks as though you could move there if you were given an option.
Yeah, I think I could.
And Rajat is now Captain Saab. And we shall not divulge more detail. But thank you for joining us from Cape Town. I really appreciate it. Thanks very much, Rajat.
Thank you, Rishi. It's such a pleasure. Thank you.
Soni ma'am, it's been ages since I gave you a real hug. Virtual hugs are not good enough. How are you?
How many years? 2 years at least I haven't met you, I think.
Yes. But it's nice to see you, even if it's on an online avatar. Hey, Ayush, what's up?
Hi, what's up? This is the first time I'm meeting you. I've heard you so much in my life that it's just surreal. Like I'm seeing you and hearing you. So it's just nice.
I hope that's a good thing.
It's a good thing. It's a really good thing. It's a really good thing.
I'm going to start with Soni, ma'am. You see, I want to understand how agents / secretaries / managers used to operate back in the day. I'm saying the 80s and 90s, because things have changed now. You know, it's become about talent management. There are contracts drawn up. I am given to understand that when you started off in the business, they were almost like family. Your agents and things like that. So let's talk about that first before we get into present day.
No, definitely. There were no talent management companies. And for somebody like me who came into the business and who came in with a very sort of, in a way, little bit of a westernized take on the whole thing, I was expecting there would be casting directors, there would be management agencies, and there was nothing of the sort. Because I had literally come off from London. I was studying drama there. And the system there was completely different. It's the way it is today. But yes, you had personal managers, you had secretaries, as you said. And I think that, as you said, they were like family. They used to hang out with you all the time. They would be with you all day long, all night long. And then they would also be drinking with other people to find out what was going on, who was casting what. And that's how casting was done. It was actually done this way. There were no casting agencies at all, or that didn't exist. So I mean, I've come from there, and I as a newcomer found it very difficult without a streamlined system. And I still think that today, youngsters, the young people who are trying to enter the business and sort of on the threshold of entry, have it so much easier because they at least have people to go to for auditions, and they can find their way in. My time it was all chaotic. You had to find a way to put yourself out there. So you did theater, you did television later on when it came in. Television wasn't even there when I started the business. There was no TV. So you can imagine where we're from.
That's a wonderful perspective you've given us. Rajat, meanwhile, the man who doesn't wield or hold a mobile phone would be completely at loss and at sea without a manager. There's so many times when I've wanted to reach him, and you can only reach him through the mail or through the manager. So a manager's role in your life is very, very important, Rajat Kapoor.
Oh, well, I've never had one.
Who's the guy who coordinates with you when you come into studio?
It depends on what production we are on. Whoever is handling the production.
Wow. So, and you live like that to this day. You don't have an agent, you don't have a manager. Whatever production house is dealing with the marketing of the film, it's just them, right?
That's right.
Interesting.
He doesn't have a phone. I've tried telling him and talking him to it to a point where I wanted to leave my phone. So it's not worked out any which way.
There are only two people who I know don't have a mobile phone. One is Cyrus Brocha and one is Rajat Kapoor. Cyrus Brocha, you don't want him to have a phone because he talks too much. But with Rajat, you'd like him to have a phone because he's a pleasant man. You'd like to know how he's doing and things like that.
Oh, God.
Cyrus, you said that.
I say it to his face all the time. Ahana and Ayush, I mean, the concept of a straight guy having this deep-rooted platonic friendship with a gay girl or vice versa, a straight girl with a gay guy has always piqued my interest. I mean, it's a wonderful relationship because it just goes beyond the whole physicality of it. And that must have appealed to you at the script level, Ahana. Maybe you can take that first and then Ayush can comment on that later.
I mean, I do have a lot of gay friends, and my relationship with them has been absolutely fantastic. I think I've been friends with them before I even understood the word gay or understood their sexual preferences. And I think I was just friends, and I've had a lot of platonic friendships with men, who've not felt like sexually attracted towards me, and it has been absolutely fantastic because I can treat them like I could talk about anything under the sun with them, and that's something that really I like about Meher and Amal's friendship. If you see the two of us, actually, I'm not saying like Ayush is gay. Obviously, he's in a committed relationship. But, I still feel like the two of us I don't think I tried too hard to be friends with Ayush. And I don't think you have to try too hard to be friends with him. He's somebody who's very friendly. He's very endearing. He is somebody who will, give you a very honest opinion on something if you're feeling confused. Or I remember even like in scenes, there were times he's somebody who comes very well prepared for scenes. Yes.
Are you talking about Ayush or Meher? Who's talking
about Ayush? Why would you interrupt that? It was going so well.
That's just nice to ruin your day.
Yeah, you can continue the brownie points.
I can. Because if I enjoy working with somebody, so I never had to really try very hard, but I love the relationship that Meher and Amal share. They throw bricks at each other. She is mad at them at him at most times. She gets so angry with him, but she can't do without him. He's like her sounding board. And that happens with a lot of my friends who are, I have to be at the liberty to say my gay friends. I have like two friends who are very, very close to me, but they are like literally my sounding boards when I have everything going kaput in my life. I call them up, I rant, and then I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'm done. Now I'm feeling much better. I can go on and like live my life. So, you need a friend like that. And I think these kind of relationships are very enduring, and it's nice to watch that on screen. And thank God for once, ek jawan ladka, ek jawan ladki, kabhi dost nahi ho sakte, can be completely like,
You want to add to that, Ayush?
I completely agree with Ahana, and I feel at human level first you gauge a person, and then the friendship develops. It's not on the basis of their sexual preferences. So I think with Amal and Meher, it's the same. Like they're in the same agency, they work together. He doesn't care if she's lesbian. He's just a friend, and it just makes life so much easier for him to just put her down because she's my friend. I don't care what sexual preference she has. She's just my friend. So it's as basic as a human level friendship. So that just puts everything into perspective. So, and it's something new. So it's beautiful.
Soni ma'am, I've only seen a preview of a few episodes, but you're such a master of your craft. You've done such a wonderful job. And in a sense, for the lack of any other person that I can think of, I don't know if you know her, but Nilofer, who works with Dharma Productions, who's been in the business for a long, long time, who's been talent manager, marketing, PR, everything, and who's weathered many storms, and who's seen that era and now is in this talent management era. It reminds me of somebody like that. And often in the few episodes that I've seen, your character doesn't even say anything, but you can make out that there's a been there, done that kind of a feeling. But yet she's trying to adapt to the modern talent management agency. And I love the dog touch. It's so cool coming to work with your dog. So I'd like you to talk about your character and how you've interpreted her.
So I mean, obviously, given what I told you about earlier, that when I started, there were no agencies and there were no management companies. Obviously, Teresa is a person who would have obviously not started as an agent at all. She would have probably started as a gossip column writer, like Devyani Chaubal or somebody like that, and she would have probably worked for Stardust or Cine Blitz, and she would have known everybody in the business. So I think her strengths are that she comes from a business where sorry, there is some disturbance.
Yeah, there's some continuous background noise through the course of this interview. I think is it Rajat, your background?
I think I know this.
Maybe you can put yourself on mute, Rajat. And when I say Rajat and I address you, you unmute yourself.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. So where was I? So yeah. So then she would have started there, and then she would have now, obviously, to be relevant in today's times, joined this agency. Not only joined it, I think she was one of the founders of the agency, and so therefore she's like a kind of a mothership. She's very protective about everybody there. She may not be running around like the other agents, running after stars or doing too much of the day to day, but she certainly is looking over everybody like a kind of an umbrella, and that's how I see her as that's how I visualize my character as somebody being there to make sure things are done properly. And if there was ever a crisis, she would be able to step in and say, okay, I'll pick up the phone and I'll call so-and-so and I'll solve this problem. But she doesn't do it all the time, because if she did, then nobody else would be doing a damn, and they need to be doing their jobs and, all that kind of a thing. So I think that is in a nutshell my character.
Rajat, did you at all see the original, the French series, or did you feel you wanted to do your own interpretation of it? Also, what I love is that, here's a guy who can be a shark, because it's required in the business from time to time, just like, lawyers, movie agents, at times they're required to be poachers, to be sharks. And the other end of the spectrum, they're also required to befriend the star therewith. So in that aspect, you've done a great job. So we're wondering if you saw the original.
First of all, Rishi, I'm very jealous that you have seen parts of the damn thing that we haven't. None of us have. So you're one up on us already. When I was offered this, I did see the first season, and I liked it immensely. I thought it was very, very well done. So so that was a great incentive to do this. But beyond that, of course, you don't you forget it after you watch it, because you want to do your own thing, and obviously you're not repeating it as it was done there. It's a whole new scenario. Your co-actors are different. Your director is somebody else who has his own vision. So you have to fall in line with all of that. I think, it's really about performance. It's everybody else who becomes a part of what you do. For example, for this particular role, what Tanya did with my costumes, I mean, it's bizarre, to say the least. I would never in my life
wear purple. I have a photo with Rajat Kapoor sir wearing purple. I clicked a selfie.
Exactly.
Saved it.
And leather jacket. Amazing.
Yeah. So I think all of that goes into making a performance. And what I liked about Monty, that he's grey, is it. There is this person who'll do anything to get his work done, and yet there's a very human, very tender side to him, which you see in the family scenes and so on. Not with you guys.
Yeah.
Never with us.
My greatest
never with us. Never.
Anna, for people who are not from the media, who are going to watch this or listen to it, tell us how close it is to real life. I methink things like Ila Arun facing off against Lilette Dubey, the Hindi theatre versus the English theatre. You don't have to take names, but it is hilarious at one level. And, a mother and daughter both being actors, being cast in the same film. I don't know if Sony Bab's ever gone through that with Alia. And there are these small nuggets like this. And Dia Mirza playing herself, for example. Yeah. So you must have found it ridiculously close to real life at lots of points, almost like saying, I've been here before.
I found it ridiculous to the extent that I thought that if I were to ever be a talent management agent, I would be Andrea. I would be an Amal. But I think when I watched the French version, and I watched it because I was auditioning for the show and I was asked to watch the show to understand the relevance of what we are doing, because I didn't treat the first audition very seriously, because I was in the middle of another shoot, and then I just quickly wrapped up my audition and I sent it, and then the agents called me, the casting directors called me, and they were like, I think you should watch the original and then you'll understand what we're talking about. And then I was like, okay, maybe I should. And then when I watched it, and I was like, oh my God, like the first episode itself, it speaks about an aging actress, and aging for any actress or any actor is perhaps the most heartbreaking thing, because you know that you'll not get the roles that you want. So I think it spoke about so many things. an actress having a baby, two actresses, yesteryear actresses, plus like in the whole Hindi theater. I mean, all of us know it because we've all, at least the four of us have been a part of the theater circuit. I don't know about Ayush, but, I mean, yeah, okay. I didn't want to like.
I used to go behind Rajat sir's shows and be like, "Hi sir, can I get a role in your show?" And he used to always be like, "Yeah, of course, I'll call you." He never called me. He never called me
also. Don't worry, he's never called me.
So you're the guy who Lilette refers to in the series saying, hangs around Prithvi for a role.
After every Rajat sir's play, I've seen all Rajat sir's play, and I used to mostly go there for those plays. I've always met him backstage, and he still did not remember my presence.
Rajat, please cast him now in one of your plays, please. Otherwise, he'll keep going.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying, Anna, is that ridiculously close to real life, and
so close, and you're not even watching like a Hindi show. You're watching a French show. So you go like, my God, how ridiculously normal or common these problems are for anybody in the film industry or in the entertainment business per se. So, I mean, then you just say, I think everybody's in the same boat. We're all trying to figure out the same problems. So we're all
trying to wing it. Everybody's trying to wing it.
In it to win it.
Yeah, correct. Ayush, Shad, I find Shad such an interesting character. I mean, he spent more than half his life in Bombay, but then suddenly he'll break into his Kanpuriya because he pretty much grew up there. And there's never a dull moment when Shad Ali is on a set. And it's obviously the first time that he's directed you. So just reactions on your director and the character that he is.
Oh man, I don't know how to start, but I'll tell you. Firstly, when I got finalized for the part, they said that you have a meeting with Shad sir, and I was like, okay, fine. I have a meeting with Shad sir. I thought that there's going to be an audition over there, and he's going to like just take an audition over there. And I went there, like being fully prepared with my scene and stuff like that. The one I auditioned for, and he's just chilling over there, and he's made some food for me, and he's like, "You've got the part." And I'm like, okay, but there might be a surprise audition, right? And he was like, no, there's no audition. You've got the part. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So let's discuss about it. And then he was like, we'll discuss it later. No, why do you want to discuss it now? So I was like, okay, fair enough. I wait for 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, thinking that have I been replaced? He's not called me. Then suddenly I call him. And he speaks to me for exactly 7 minutes. And he's like, you'll handle it. Don't worry about it. Don't stress. We'll take care of it. I was like, okay. So this is like my first OTT big project. And I was under the impression that I'm going to just go so prepared, talking to my director and, going to be full on like that. Shad sir spoke to me for 7 minutes before I went on set. And then whatever happened was on set. So he was one of the coolest directors I've worked with. He's very sweet, very kind, lets you do whatever you want to. He's very, I just love it. I don't know how to tell you. Like, he's just become a very good friend of mine. Like, I call him in the middle of the day and I tell him that I want to eat mutton, and he'll just call me home and I'll just eat mutton with him. So he's just become that.
You horrible boy.
to have some royal mutton.
He's like, I keep all these plans without you, Sony. Just
I call up a mutton without me. What is this nonsense, Ayush?
And then to guess who's making the mutton for him, Sohail.
What's stupid with you? Sorry.
No, we will definitely. So Shad sir.
And I was about to say that's royal mutton because Shad is Nawabi. No?
He makes
Nawab Saab.
That's what we call him. By the way, his name is Prince Ali. That's what we call him. That's his name.
And Shad sir is so fast. There were times where there were times where we used to rehearse a scene, and he used to like the rehearsal so much. Once he rolled a rehearsal and he said okay, and we were like, no. All of us just went like, yeah, all of us.
You remember Rajat's reaction to that?
Yeah, Rajat was like, this cannot go. Please, can we do one take? Please, this is warm up.
This was the weirdest because he rolled a rehearsal and he said, okay. And all of us are like, what do you mean, okay? And all of us are like looking at each other, absolutely zapped. We had no idea he had rolled a rehearsal.
Ahana still had pins in her head, and he was like, "It's okay, it looks natural." And we were like, "No, can we please go one more?" And so he's very spontaneous when it comes to taking.
It's called guerrilla style shooting.
I think he's the only director I've ever worked with who, if he's satisfied with the first take, he doesn't take another one for safety.
Yes.
He just says it's okay. And I got so used to working with that speed. So at times I used to get on set and say, "Oh my God, we have 7 scenes today. We're never going to finish." Finish. Not only would we finish that, we would finish some of next day's work as well. And that, I kid you not. I mean, this was. So it's not because he's fast. It's also just because
it's so clear.
He's one of those directors who doesn't make you angsty about what you're doing. He's comfortable. He makes you so comfortable by being comfortable with what you're doing. And he's not there telling you do it this way now and do it that way now and all that. He just lets you be. And that kind of atmosphere, of course, he knows what he wants. If he doesn't get it, he tells you. But it's the whole vibe on the set is just like you're all confident because you know the director's also confident and has that confidence in you. It makes a huge difference to actors. We all need to be guided, no doubt. That's why we need a director. But apart from that, he doesn't get into too many of the nitty gritties, and he doesn't look for that perfect take. He just likes, when he likes something, he likes it, and that makes it such a pleasure to work with him. Honestly.
Yeah, there are so many fumbles which we've had. Yeah,
oh, fantastic, and that's just wonderful to work with for an actor. It's great.
Lovely.
I remember we fumbling also in some of the dialogues, 1 or 2 times, and
some of the dialogues. 1 or 2 times. Ayush, come on.
Hello. Listen. Hello. Okay, I have to tell you this story. Okay, this is the first time I'm coming on set. Okay, my first scene was with Rajat sir, and I was pretty nervous, obviously, because I've seen him direct on stage, and he's fabulous as a director, fabulous as an actor. I've seen his work all around, and then I'm so nervous that I've learned his lines, I've learned my lines, I've learned everyone's lines on set.
You're a dream for a theatre director, yeah? Rajat Kapoor the proof.
I just wanted to impress Rajat sir. So I come on set and we start rolling, and Rajat sir looks and he fumbles on his first line. And I give him his second line. And I was like, whoa!
You were never supposed to tell that, Ayush.
And that's the time he was like, you remember my lines? And I think that's how he became friends with me at that point of time. And I was like, yes. So I always learned his lines.
Lovely. October 29th, guys, streaming on Netflix, Calling My Age in Bollywood. Please go see these shiny, happy people. It promises to be lovely. Last question to Rajat before we sign off, unless he's completely frozen.
He's frozen.
What thing?
Oh, maybe. Okay, fine. Ahana, you can take this. Are you in town for Diwali? Happy Diwali. And what are Kumra family plans? Rajat's come back. And Kapoor family plans for Diwali.
I think everybody is going to be home this Diwali. At least I am. I know Sony likes to be home. I don't know about Ayush if he's shooting. And I'm not sure if Rajat's going to be in Cape Town or back in Bombay. I just hope that all of us can watch the show together as a team.
Yeah.
I really want to, because I know that everybody's schedules are all over the place. Plus, we don't really have like a formal screening organized for us. But I really hope that all of us can meet at one place, because, honestly, this has been a very dream cast to work with, Rishi. And I kid you not, and I'm not trying to impress anybody out here. It has been such a breeze to watch the show. To shoot the show, that I think it'll be like a fun popcorn leke baitho, coke rakho, mast baatein karo, make fun of each other, like look at our scenes for the first time, and it'll be a fun watch. I think it's going to be like a fun watch for all of us as well.
Lovely. Take care. Thank you very much. Lots of love, guys. Big virtual hugs. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
One world, your station.